Good afternoon. 17 days stretched before us of drama and daring, of skill and of tension, and perhaps another slice or two of history in the making. You'll remember that 12 months ago, Ronnie O'Sullivan equalled Stephen Hendry's era-defining 7 world title total. And after a year of agreeably sharing the spoils, now it's all about outright ownership for the Rocket. And at 10 a.m. this morning, the defending champion walked into the Crucible Theatre here in Sheffield to get us underway in the 47th playing of the Kazoo World Championship. Our annual snooker marathon is off and running. And those are the names and faces of the men who are in it to win it, and a few more besides. It's actually 30 years now, over 30 years since Steve and John last won the world title, but their names etched into the very fabric of this city and, of course, the sport itself. John, we were trying to work this out. How many years of your life do you think you've spent in this city, and how does it change at Crucible time? Well,
it changes at Crucible time. The place is a buzz, as you can see here, with all the crowd behind us. I mean, Sheffield out all this square at the back here, Winter Gardens, all the way down to the Crucible Theatre. Everybody absolutely mad keen, enjoying the weather at the minute and having a few slurps outside,
absolutely.
I think, and then going in and watching the snooker. But it's a fantastic place to play. And as for, I think we calculated probably between a year and a half of my life spent in Sheffield.
Gosh. And you love coming back every time, yeah?
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, I palm sweat as soon as I come off the motorway, turn around the corner, I see the iconic venue, the palms start sweating. You look at it and listen, not everything was good in there, but there was some good stuff in there.
It's some great stuff from the two of you. Obviously, John having won it in '91 and Steve 6 world titles. And now we've got an era where we've had Stephen Hendry and Ronnie sharing 7.
Yeah.
Now, the pressure and the emotion we remember of Ronnie last year when he equalled it was quite something. How different is the level of expectation and indeed the pressure that Ronnie might be experiencing as he goes for 8 now?
Well, I think there was a time when there was a question mark as to whether Ronnie would actually equal Stephen Hendry. It looked like maybe that he was having a rocky time getting there. But when it happened, it seemed inevitable. I think the problem is whether you expect too much of yourself. And if Ronnie's going in expecting it to happen, which I'm sure he's not, then that can be the problem. We're all expecting him now to break the records. But as long as Ronnie O'Sullivan just remains motivated and doesn't expect too much of himself, that's the key to unlocking the 8th World Championship. Yeah,
well, he's the man of the moment, obviously, but he's not been the man of the season, has he, John? For you, who's best equipped, would you say, to challenge him seriously here?
I think Mark Selby's coming to the boil nicely. Won a tournament, obviously, then lost to Sean Murphy 10-9 in a classic. I think his game is very much suited to Crucible. Obviously, his record tells you that 4 times course and distance winner. I think the long format of the match has suited his game. And if Mark Selby gets confidence, he's very dangerous. And you have to say, Sean himself is in unbelievable form. Best he's been in since he won in 2005. So he'll be coming here full of confidence. We've just got to try and keep him out the commentary box.
Mark Allen, of course, 3 big titles and looking for a really good run here once again from the man from Northern Ireland. But Steve, Ronnie's the man who described this as climbing the mountain at the Crucible. You've done it successfully. You reached the top. What's the most important element in the backpack that you do in order to help you climb that mountain?
In the backpack, I think who's got the best compartment to park their brain in it.
Okay.
Because when you start thinking, that's when the problems start. So if you can just play on automatic pilot, let your ability play and don't think it's easier said than
Yeah,
done.
honestly.
So who's got the best? Chuck the brain in the backpack. Get rid of it. It gets in the way.
OK, I'll bear that in mind, actually. Thank you very much, Steve. All right. Well, it's all very well talking about who's going to win, but it's been a scramble just to get here. Remember, only the top 16 world seeds actually get through to the first round by right. The rest of them, well, they go through the ringer. 10 days of the qualifying tournament at the English Institute of Sport. It only finished on Wednesday night. 112 matches later, these are the 16 qualifiers who've made it. It all came down to Judgment Day. 16 places left to be claimed at the Crucible. New faces and regulars all bidding for success at the English Institute of Sport in Sheffield. Now, the only former world champion in the draw, Graham Doss, struggled with a shoulder injury. Matthew Selt took advantage to book his fourth Crucible appearance a decade after his first.
I've been working hard on my game. I've been playing well the last 3 or 4 months, so you know, it is an opportunity to play well there and to hopefully notch up a win, my first win, which would be great, and then see what would happen.
Two other familiar faces missed out after long runs at the famous theatre. Stephen Maguire's been here every year since 2004, but Fan Zhengji brought that sequence to an end and booked his debut appearance. It was the same story for Barry Hawkins, who has a final and 4 semi-finals on his CV, but he went down to Welshman Jack Jones, who's heading to the biggest event of his career.
I didn't think it bothered me that much playing there, but now that I've qualified, can't wait to get there.
There was an empty table for the final session of the 2 Judgment Days as Scott Donaldson had to withdraw for medical reasons, giving Ryan Day a free passage. And on the next door table, Mark Davis faced losing his place on the tour after 32 years with anything other than victory over his best friend Joe Perry. All came down to the final frame and Davis needed pink for victory.
And he's missed it, or has he? Has he missed it? Oh, wow, wow, wow.
In snooker terms, you know, it doesn't get any closer as mates on the tour, and I knew what was at stake for him. It's a horrible thing to have to go through. It's going to happen to all of us eventually, but you know, when it happens, it's not a nice thought. And it happened to be me that had to play him at the end.
Dramatic stuff, eh? And on Thursday morning, the 16 seeds were drawn against the 16 qualifiers. Defending champion O'Sullivan meets Pang Junqiu. Pang is one of 4 Chinese debutants this year and 5 new boys in total. Ronnie has a resurgent Ding Junhui in his quarter of the draw. And there are another 3 dangerous world champs lurking here as well. Mark Williams, Sean Murphy, arguably playing the best snooker of anyone right now. And last year's runner-up, Judd Trump, who has a really tough opener against former semi-finalist Anthony McGill. And good to see Welsh Open champion Rob Milkins at the age of 47 become a seeded player for the very first time. Now, the bottom half of the draw is also stacked with Crucible pedigree. Stuart Bingham, Neil Robertson, John Higgins and number 2 seed Mark Selby at the bottom of the order are all world champs. Selby well fancied to challenge for a 5th world title. And down here, you'll also see Northern Ireland's Mark Allen, man of the season after 3 big wins. Former Crucible finalists Ali Carter and Kyron Wilson have both won titles this term too. And don't forget Gary Wilson and qualifier Ryan Day have lifted silverware this term as well. It is stacked. It sure is, and when you look at that draw, it suddenly dawns on you that 17 of the 32 men who've qualified have actually made it to the one-table setup here, the semi-finals, at least. This is a heck of a field, John.
Best I've ever seen. I have to say that. Looking at it, I think you could pick yourself up and put any part of the draw, and you couldn't find an easy match. There just simply isn't one. And of all the qualifiers that come through and the matches I'm looking forward to, I think Judd Trump and Anthony McGill is an absolute cracker in waiting. I think that's a great match.
In fact, 4 of the qualifiers, Steve, have reached the semi-finals at least in the past. For you, which of those qualifiers could do some real damage here?
Well, I mean, you can make a case for so many of them. I'd like to see Hossein Vafai have a great run because he's a great player, but he's got a tough first-round match. But they've all got tough first-round. Yeah, and who's to say that Joe Perry, after having that close match, won't do some damage. Interesting to see which of the rookies can actually produce. Maybe Jack Jones is best placed because he's had the pedigree of beating Barry Hawkins. So, do you know what? Looking at I don't think I'd like to have a bet on any match. So it's so evenly spread. And the first round, as we know, is the problematic round for all of the seeds.
Yeah, and it's a big, big day, and it's a big championship, actually, for 5 young men. You mentioned Jack Jones, but there are 4 other Chinese newcomers as well. So this is a huge step in their lives as well, John.
Oh, it's a massive day. And of course, they'll go out there and some of them will go, oh, this is for me. And some of them might go, oh, I don't like this.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, we do have a couple of new boys on this opening day. In fact, let's just remind you of the way the day is split up. As usual, we've got 3 sessions for you. This morning was when Ronnie O'Sullivan stepped out against Pang Junxu. We'll be looking back on that one very shortly, their opening session. Bingham Gilbert also underway at 10 o'clock. And this afternoon, we're very much looking forward to seeing the seeded players Neil Robertson and Luca Brissell take their opening bout. That is from 2:30. And then the third session, as ever, is at 7 o'clock. One match will be concluding, and that is the match of the defending champion Ronnie O'Sullivan against Pang Junxu. And we've got Ali Carter, who's stepping into the fray after a couple of years away. Lovely to see Ali back, 2-time runner-up here, of course, and he is on parade at 7 o'clock. But this morning, it was all about O'Sullivan, just as it was here 12 months ago when Ronnie finally rocketed to the top of the Crucible charts, alongside, for now, fellow legend Stephen Hendry.
You never know when it's going to be your last one, so it wouldn't surprise me if that was the last big tournament I won. So it was great to have that moment.
Ronnie O'Sullivan has proved that he's the greatest player in the world. His dream to be 7 times champion of the world has been realised.
There's a lot of talk about it, but there was never really any talk from me. And before it, I was like, you know what, not bothered about records. And now I've equalled it. I'm still not bothered about records. And if I was to beat it, I'm still not bothered about records. It's just like, how do I feel? How am I internally feeling? Obviously, win 1, which is a great feeling. 2, 3, you get excited. 4, 5. You get less exciting as they go on. It's not my fault. It's just that's what happens when you win that amount of tournaments at the same venue. You realise it probably is like a bit of an anticlimax. It's nice to do, but it's not like life-changing in any sort of way. I've got no yardstick there. It's not like someone's got 24 majors, 8, or whatever. It's like I'm just beating myself now. I'm just trying to set records that other people have got to chase. But I'm not really bothered, to be honest with you. I'm like happy in my career. I'm quite content. Got a good perspective on everything now, so it's really hard to find the drive and motivation other than I just like to travel. I like to enjoy myself while I'm away, and it's a nice life, that I've got. No point in me thinking, I've got a long way to go. I'm just thinking about Saturday. After Saturday, if I get through, then I'll think about when I next play, and if I get through that, then I'll start thinking about that match. So just break it down into small segments, I suppose.
Well, this morning at 10 o'clock, Ronnie set out on his quest to win back-to-back titles for the second time in his career. He first did that in 2012 and 2013. And he stepped out against 23-year-old Chinese first-timer Pang Junxu. Pang is a former Rookie of the Year and runner-up in the WST Classic, a world ranking event last month to Mark Selby. Practices at Dings Academy in Sheffield, and a man with real promise. But Ronnie swept to a 3-0 lead. That's when we left it on BBC Two earlier. And Ronnie won the last before their interval 4-0. And we're going to pick them up in frame 5. It's Pang at the table on a break of 49. And it's Stephen Hendry and John Virgo who are guiding us through it.
Wow. He made a 50 break in the opening frame.
56.
56 here, but again, he stopped well short of securing the frame.
Pang Junxu, 56.
Well, I could not have finished it worse.
Yeah, he played to hit the other side of the red after pushing to lead the cue ball in bulk. Got it all wrong, and well, he'll be fearing the worst.
1.
Deja vu, the opening frame of the match.
not a straightforward run to the line, obviously. He's got this red he's nicely on, and then he's got the one just below the two reds underneath the pink.
9.
Some good positional shots and maybe a few nice cannons to play.
Yeah, that's a beautiful shot. Deliberately finishing low on this red. So when he pots it,
14.
he can just open up the two that are below the pink. That last shot from the blue was pinpoint accuracy.
$22. $23.
He's landed straight in the black, which it's not a problem.
$30. $31.
The red near the left cushion is obviously the stumbling block, or could be a stumbling block in terms of clearing up, but it's such a big target in terms of if you want to move the red. You could even drop in behind it for right middle if you had the right angle on the black. Leave the cue ball on the side cushion.
$39.
And that looks absolutely perfect. As Stephen said, you can either drop to the cushion and leave the red to the right middle, or you could play with a bit more pace, come off the cushion and move the red in more into open play. His choice. Starting to stun behind it and played it to absolute perfection. There was a few problems, it looked, but that one good positional shot Stephen highlighted early on
47.
has made this look also very easy, and it wasn't.
And if Ronnie does convert here, which I expect him to do, I fear for his opponent in this session, whether he will win a single frame, because he should have won this one.
$51. $53.
This green makes the points all square.
56.
Brown, blue, pink for 5-0.
$60. $65.
Not bothered about the black. What a wonderful frame-winning contribution that was. That was top draw from the defending champion. 5-0.
Yeah, top drawer and indeed the top break so far in this match of 71 from Ronnie O'Sullivan, who's calmly, very great composure, putting some distance between himself and the Crucible rookie. Into frame 6 we go now. No score yet, Ronnie to play.
Well, Ronnie knew as soon as he hit the red. He got a good line. Fair play, but the red he played ran into the one along the top cushion, knocked it over the corner. So first chance in this frame to Pang Junzhu. He's got to start scoring. And scoring enough to win a frame. But played that nicely.
Yeah, well, he was 4-0 behind to Ken Doherty in the qualifying, so going behind, he's got experience of coming back from. It doesn't phase him that much. Okay, it's a different matter here against a defending champion in the Crucible Theatre, but it at least shows his head doesn't go down completely. A little shake of the head there. May have to play red to left middle now instead of this one. Want it to be higher with the cue ball. And see, you can't avoid the red to the left of the one he wants to play here. It's amazing how when you're struggling for a frame, that the simple shots you find problems with.
Nine.
Mid-distance red. I think the advantage with this one though, he can just stun into the red just to the right of the one he's playing and still be on the pink to the right middle. So not much to do with the cue ball. Played it nicely.
70.
And he'll be glad he's on the pink because the black's tied up now. It's not going to help matters break-wise.
$23. $24.
Nice shot there to get right side of the pink. He has got an option and a big target to go into the pack here. Played it well as 5-0 behind. You're looking for a little bit of help, and so often you don't get it. You couldn't have played this any better through the gap. Tough shot this to right middle. Yeah, beautiful pot. Well done.
31.
Played it positively as well, fully committed. Left the cue ball short of the bault line. Could have been excused for playing that with an element of safety. Well played.
Blue spot occupied. So it goes to the highest spot available, which is the pink spot.
$37.
Okay. Straighter on the pink would have been ideal, but nothing he can't cope with here.
He'd love to play on the red. It's above the black to right corner here. Anywhere the cue ball's okay, really. If he finishes high, he can play the cannon on the red to the left, leave the black, or Play for the black.
43.
I was going to say black to left corner. Maybe it doesn't go, but he's still got plenty of options. Has to take this opportunity. Just to make him feel like he's involved in the match.
44.
Again, very nice positional shot, perfectly on the pink.
His third 50 of the match. Still nothing to show for it, frame-wise.
$51.
So this could be the key shot coming up now. Once again, nice angle. 2 reds available to the right corner.
$57. $58.
Can't see any reason why he won't win the frame now at this visit. Just a red and a colour, and he gets his first frame on the scoreboard.
63. $64.
Yeah, well played, Pang Jun-soo. Taking these so well. His cue ball has been immaculate throughout the whole break, you have to say.
69.
The highlight, red to right middle. Cannon the red away from the black. And every chance of making the century.
70.
You'll be feeling such a sense of relief that he has got that frame on the board.
77. $78.
Well, that cannon couldn't have worked out nicer.
85.
Ooh, and switching hands.
86.
Maybe not quite the touch that he got with his right hand. He'll have to play for the pink. He did play for the blue. Red and black for the ton.
92.
Debut here at the Crucible would be nice to have on the CV. His first century break.
93.
Looks a certainty now. Well played, very well played. After what he's gone through in the first 5 frames, to dig this deep. And as Stephen said, his cue ball control has been immaculate, and just a little wry smile there on his face. Lovely to see.
101. Six. 108.
And we always say with snooker, don't we, Stephen, no matter how good you are, when you sat in that seat and the other man's at the table, there's nothing you can do about it. We just got past the black, bump off the middle, leaving perfect on the brown.
$150.
Oh, he's coming out with all the shots here.
120.
And it's a funny thing, after losing the last frame as he did, I was like you, I was worried, would he ever get a frame on the board? This has been superb.
126.
Yeah, very well played.
Does it drop in? Does it drop in? Wonderful break of 133. Gets him off the mark in style.
Well, what a wonderful achievement. That is a real first taste of the talent that this world number 35 Pang Junxu possesses. This is the guy that's been in a quarterfinal, a semi-final and a final in the last couple of months and has beaten a world champion, a certain Ken Doherty, just to make it here. Can he push on from here? Into the next we go, and it's the Rocket up by 24.
This is tough. Well, there's a chance of this red to right corner. But again, can you miss any contact on the other reds? He's missed a lot of these thin this morning.
Yeah, we got it. And he didn't mind getting the kiss on the second red once he'd potted it. Not ideal on the pink. If he takes the blue on, there's a lot of pressure on that. Can he hold the cue ball for the red to the left middle? Played it nicely.
Seven.
Well, if he could win the frame at this visit, and it's not beyond the realms of possibility, what a boost that could give him.
8.
Pop the green, stun the cue ball off the right cushion, bring it down in between blue and pink. You'd love to be able to play off for the black of the next red. Well played. He can play
11.
for the black now. If he finishes in the black in such a way, just slightly high, he can bring the red out that's right next to the black. Guaranteed position
12.
on the other red. All depends on this angle. He has got enough angle, so just force that red away from the cushion. Stay on the other one. And this is a chance.
19. 20.
He pointed the black into the right side of the pocket as we look. Pointed it thin, that's why the cue ball's travelled. I think he's okay. Just a direct screw back for the black to the same pocket. Should leave a natural angle to go up for the yellow.
28.
Little dab of right hand side. So this is the shot. You would think if he gets this right, should win the frame. Oh. Well, I always say
28.
at this level, miss a black off a spot, it's unforgivable. What a chance that was. He did all the hard work.
You can only put it down to the pressure of the World Championship.
2.
He did all the hard work. He was in complete control, nicely on the black.
Five.
And that's why we say, Stephen, isn't it? You can go all season, people never miss balls, but you come out here and it's a real test of your mettle.
Yeah, and it's always the easy shots that are the ones that let you down. Never the difficult ones.
9.
Like you said to Pang Junsu coming out this morning for this match, don't miss anything easy. It's amazing how well you would do in the match.
Still needs the pink. This cue ball's going close to the middle.
Foul. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 9.
Wow.
Pang Junsu, 5.
And Ronnie O'Sullivan, who is fully focused and concentrating, doesn't do that. I mean, possibly the cue ball came off as an unnatural angle from the cushion, but that's just something you don't see Ronnie do.
Blue and pink for the frame. Oh, well, that's disappointing. And I'll tell you why it's disappointing, because every professional practices that shot all day long. The blue from hand.
Yeah, and overhit it, didn't he, with the pressure? He could have just stunned it in, didn't need to go to the cushion with the cue ball.
5.
Well, in the end, he's gifted this frame to Ronnie. And gratefully received. As we say, there's no pictures on the scorecards, but this will really hurt
18 on the
Pang
frame.
Junsu. What a chance he had there to put his second frame on the scoreboard. Ronnie O'Sullivan stretches clear, 5 in front again.
Yes, after Pang's superb century in the last frame, Ronnie dampens his fire in that one to go 5 ahead, as John was saying. Now, 2 more frames to go in this opening session. Remember, it's a best of 19 frames match, so they're playing this morning and, of course, this evening. This is the penultimate of their morning.
Yeah, it was always asking a lot to catch that thin enough to get back to the balk end, just a fraction thick. And caught the jaws of the pocket, took all the pace out of the cue ball. A chance for the young man from China.
He's played that shot nicely all day. When, you know, the few chances he's been in the balls, the shot for the blue, he's finished perfect every time. Hopefully I haven't jinxed him the next time he plays it, but he's got absolutely perfect every time.
6.
It may look a simple shot on your screen, but it's so important to get right.
Seven.
Potting that red has made the black clearly available into both corners. Good opportunity.
$40. $15.
The red is that's just apart from the bunch to the right. He wants to get that and screw into the pack. Played it perfectly. Great shot.
$22.
Very well played.
$23.
Well, the 1-3-3 that he made a couple of frames ago. He had the cue ball on a string. Similar situation here.
$30. $31. $38.
One of the more difficult reds. He's getting out of the way this time.
$39.
A little bit straighter on this black would have been better. But I think he can just about hold for the red in the middle of the table. And he could quite comfortably. Probably playing the one to the right middle.
$46.
Well, he's certainly shown, well, you can not forget the black in the last frame, but last few frames he's certainly shown us why he's here.
$47.
Yeah, I think the first few frames they've been crucibled. But he can definitely play. And as I said, if you're going to make a case for him winning this match, he needs this frame and the last frame of the session. Looking to see if these bottom reds, well, they're certainly not set to the pocket, are they, as a plant? May choose to play a cannon into the red. It's just to the left of the pink. I think if you go directly into the pink, it can go wrong. He has done. He couldn't have hit it any better. And you have to say he's been very unlucky. Okay, he's got a red on, but
52.
It could have been easier the way they've split.
Yeah, I would have favoured just sliding past the pink, just hitting the edge of him. You'd have still had the one to the right middle. But he deserved better than that. Thin cut facing him here. red to the far left corner, another possibility. But was hoping for something easier.
Yeah, this camera angle we've got makes it look quite simple, the red from the left corner, but it's anything but. He should be able to keep this relatively safe should he miss this. Screwing the cue ball back for the black. Great shot. Should be the frame now.
53.
Possibly another century break.
$60. 61.
So, one more red. Colour, snooker's required.
67.
And I agree with Stephen. The final frame of this session is going to be very interesting. And the reason I say that, Stephen, is
68.
as we've seen in the last few frames, he does look like a heavy scorer. And a heavy scorer is a danger to anybody. Okay, he's missed a few shots that you can't afford to miss at this level.
Yes, very neat and
75.
tidy when he's in amongst the balls.
76.
Very good cue ball. Has not done much mileage at all. He's kept close control of it in these 2 century breaks. As I said, I don't expect Pang Junsu to win this match, but as I said, if you're making a case, wins this one and the next one, he feels that he's still
83.
in it. Oh, what a shame. No century break this time, but
And the frame.
a one-visit win for Pang Junsu, and he takes his second frame of the match. That trails 6-2.
Well, he's still hanging in there, isn't he? And it's worth remembering that these guys have played once before. It was only in a best of 5 last July, but Pang was the man who won it with a century and a 70 break along the way. So not without hope. This is his first experience, though, of a best of 19 frames, and he's still in it. And he's asking a few more questions of Ronnie in the last frame of the session. Ronnie trailing by 44 points.
Oh, so close, but it's not gone in and he's left it.
One.
I didn't think I'd be saying this when it was 5-0, Stephen, but could have been for a very interesting session this evening because this lad's really struck form and Ronnie has been a little bit in and out.
Yeah, I mean, we always look in snooker and body language, and you wouldn't say that Ronnie looked as focused as he could be. And if it does go 6-3, he's, you could argue that he has let his opponent back into this match that he didn't deserve to be. But all credit to Pang Junsu.
6.
He's kept the belief in his own ability. He's scored well. He's been the heavier scorer
7.
of the 2 players. That was a nice shot. Needs to come out if he does go on and win this frame, he needs to come out tonight and play his best snooker.
40.
And you'd have to say, get a little bit of help from his opponent.
$15.
Again, played that shot well, perfectly on the blue.
Yeah, so I think what I'm going to give him credit for, he was 4-0 down at the mid-session win, so he came out at the 5th frame, made a break of 56. Ronnie stole that frame with a nice 71 break, so
20.
you think 5-0 down. And as we said, and you said at the time, where was his frame now going to
21.
come from with that disappointment? But the fact he's put this disappointment behind him, the disappointment of losing the frame when he missed the black off the spot, I've got to give him every credit.
Yeah, it shows he's got great character, as we mentioned before, in qualifying 4-0 down to Ken Doherty.
28.
It's a great trait to have,
29.
and you can just tell with the look on his face, his body language, he's enjoying it. He wants this match to carry on now. He doesn't want to stop. But he's giving himself a squeak tonight. That's all it is, but a small chance.
36. $37.
Well, the ping's not gone in, but that won't matter. A little fist bump from the defending champion, who looked like a stroll in the park, but it's maybe not now. Pang Junzhu has done really well and goes into this evening's final session, just 3 frames behind.
Yeah, a bit of a turnaround in that match. 7 o'clock is when they're back, and John, you're going to be commentating on that match, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, that scoreline could have been anything, really. I mean, the balls that he's missed early on in the session could easily have won the first frame. A couple of shots he's missed earlier on. I mean, it's 6-3 to Ronnie, but really could have been 5-4, 7-2, could have been anything.
Yeah, but really interesting revival from Pang in the last couple of frames. In fact, Steve, when you look down at it, he's made the running in terms of scoring with the 2 top breaks of 133 and 83. The guy's got real potential and a bit of guts, as we saw at the end there.
Yeah, it's taken him a bit of time to settle down and relax, but I think Ronnie will be just pleased to have a little bit of a leeway against an opponent. He knows he's dangerous, but you'd expect some of the rookie players to struggle. It always seems to be the case. You get 1 or 2 maybe flourish, as John was saying earlier. Every now and again you get somebody who says, oh, I quite like this place. I'll be born to play here. Others go, I hate it, and they take a lot of time to get used to it. But I think Ronnie will be quite happy with that and just sort of push through the gears, I think, perhaps tonight, or just remain parity with his opponent.
Yeah, at 6-1 down, though, how much credit do you give this young man for actually steeling himself and making a fight of this?
Yeah, and played the best in the match that did. Sometimes, Hazel, it's a little bit like I've got nowhere else to go here, and a little bit of pressure comes off you, so you start loosening up a little bit. And to his credit, he knocked the balls in, but sometimes it's the circumstances of the scoreline makes you find a little bit. It'd be interesting if he plays tonight, first couple of frames, and he gets close again, whether he keeps that same sort of level up.
Okay, you're going to go and lie in a darkened room for a little while, John?
I'm relaxed, watching snooker this afternoon, of course.
Okay, that's because you're on commentary this afternoon. And Mr. Hendry, 7 times himself, is going to come in
actually
and
doing a bit of work for once.
Exactly, yeah. we'll flay him, I think, for the next 17 days. John, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
And we will now concentrate on the match, which was on the other side of the curtain this morning. And it features the 2015 world champion, Stuart Bingham. I'm sure many of you will have wonderful memories of these moments. Back then, 8 years ago, he beat Ronnie and Trump, and he conquered Shaun Murphy on the biggest stage of them all to win the title at the age of 38. And since then, the ball run, as they call him, has gone on to lift the Masters crystal as well in 2020. And now at the age of 46, he's back for a 17th appearance in Sheffield. Not a scintillating season, but if he's looking for confidence, he may well do to recall his previous matches against his opponent today, Dave Gilbert. Now, Bingham has never lost to the man nicknamed the Angry Farmer in anything going back to 2005. That's quite a stat, isn't it? Not something 31-year-old Dave will want to dwell on after winning 2 qualifying matches just to get back here again, including a very strong performance against the classy Matthew Stevens. Gilbert will instead focus on rekindling memories of his own fabulous run to the semi-finals here 4 years ago. Now, this is a rather curious match, very topsy-turvy. Check this out, because it was Stuart Bingham quick out of the blocks with a 108 in the opening frame, and then the next 3 went to Gilbert, including a centre of his own, a 1-2-1 to lead 3-1. But back has come Bingham, winning the next 4 to lead 5 frames to 3. And we're going to pick them up in the last frame of their morning session today. And it is Gilbert trailing by 27 points here. Commentary from Joe Perry and Rob Walker.
In the first 4 frames, they were going in.
He's potted a few good balls with the rest today, Stuart. 100% so far. He has potted a couple of crackers, but this is far from easy. Yeah, very good. A few wonderful West players in the game, as we all know. Stuart's adding his name to that list on today's showing. Oh, again, not something you expect from Stuart. Positional error. I think he was playing for the red below the pink, just to the right there. That would have potted maybe. But whatever he played, he got it wrong.
Sure, Bingham 6.
Could have been a much worse outcome for Dave Gilbert. Just get the feeling he's struggling to hang on to his composure in this second half of this session. Just needs to remember how well he played in the first 4. He's coming under some pressure here on the biggest stage of all.
I think he's taking this on. Again, very risky. Doesn't have to. He's looking if he can just... The red to the right of the bunch there. Almost hit the 2 reds at the same time. Going to send that red towards the right corner, but far from easy. Doesn't have total control where the cue was going to go. Oh, that's a good part, wasn't it? Very much needed as well from Dave Gilbert. Needs his cue ball to run.
1.
Oh, he's not nice on a colour, and he's not refusing much at the minute, so I just wonder. No. Rightly so as well. Just managed to rein it in just in time. He was looking at the black, but oh dear, Dave.
David Gilbert 1, Stuart Bingham 4.
Oh,
there's
no excuses for that, I'm afraid. Didn't have to be right tight behind the green, but to not reach is, well, he'll be feeling very, very sore in his chair.
There was a little bit of noise on the other side of the arena around the time he was trying to go for the delicate touch on the green, but having pulled off a hugely risky red into the bottom right-hand corner. He's handed the table back to Stuart Bingham. He's going to have to work hard to contain his frustration after that error. He looks away from the table, Dave. As Stuart Bingham retakes control in this last frame of the session. That will hurt.
Yeah, it was almost as if he really wanted to take the black on. That's what it seemed to me. And he talked himself out of it, decided it was the wrong shot, and then very quickly got down and played the right shot, but obviously didn't give it enough due care and attention. He's now got to sit and suffer.
Would you please stay still? Thank you.
So Stuart already with a healthy lead in this frame. And enough open reds to get across the winning line. There shouldn't be any more obstacles in the way for a 6-3 lead, but as we know, it's never quite that easy.
It was a cracking pot on the red by Dave Gilbert, who perhaps felt he was a bit unlucky to not be on a colour, but yes, it's that lapse in concentration. And what a chance now for Stuart Bingham to go 5 on the spin and move to within 4 frames overnight of a place in the last 16. What a turnaround after the first 4 frames. So 60 ahead. This black puts him 67 ahead. 67 remaining. With a red, you would think unmissable, waiting. Stuart has turned this match on its head.
31.
Struggling at 3-1 down. Mid-session interval come along. He's won the remaining 5 frames.
32.
A bit of help from his opponent, but he's done what he had to do.
This has made for hard watching for those supporting Dave Gilbert.
40.
5 frames in a row. Stuart Bingham has found a way to settle, and Dave Gilbert somehow has to put this session behind him when they come back tomorrow morning. He really was playing wonderful snooker before the break, but he's already undoing his sleeves and preparing
46.
for a little bit of soul searching at the end of this session.
$53. 54.
'He made his
61.
debut 23 years ago, Stuart Bingham.
62.
It's his 17th appearance on the sport's biggest stage, and he's used all of that experience to wrestle control away from an opponent who started this match in
67.
fine style.
What a turnaround from the
69.
break. 5 frames in a row. And he will sleep very well tonight.
72. $76. 81. $87.
Finishing the session with an exhibition shot here, Stuart Bingham. Well, what a way to turn it round from 3-1 down. He's finished the first instalment of this one with 5 frames in a row. Dave Gilbert has it all to do. Bingham showed his class and composure. 6-3, his overnight lead.
Yep, and they'll be back at 10 o'clock in the morning to finish their match off. Look who's here. Stephen Hendry, 7 times champion of the world, with a 6-time champion in Steve Davis. We are in awe of the two of you. What a combination. Stephen, good to see you. You obviously weren't able to see a huge amount of that match as it was going on this morning because you were commentating on Ronnie. Before we talk about that, Steve, can I just get your impressions of Stuart Bingham's recovery from 3-1 down, winning 5?
Well, he'd have been delighted, especially with that last frame. Dave Gilbert's sessions unravelled there. Failing to roll up behind the green at this level was unforgivable. All those points could have been his, and it could have been 5-4, not 6-3. It always feels like the last frame of a session is worth 2 frames. It's not, but it just always feels that way. So that's now tough. He's in a bit of a hole in a race to 10 from 6-3 behind. 5-4 obviously would have been a lot happy with that.
He's a mercurial player, Stephen Hendry, isn't he? Stuart Bingham, we know how dangerous he can be, but whether he can sustain that, as he's had problems doing all season, is the big question, I suppose.
It is, and it just shows you how momentum can change in these multi-session matches, long sessions. One player can seem to be all over his opponent, and then one frame can change it, and then all of a sudden the other player has the momentum. So it's a unique place to play snooker in terms of these big long sessions.
Okay, and a quick word about Ronnie and Pang, because we were discussing before you came in, Stephen, just how courageous it was for that young man to win the last couple of frames of the session. How much hope does he go into tonight's closing session with, would you say? Well,
I don't give him much hope of winning the match, but if you were going to, as I said in commentary, make a case for him winning the match, he's done what he had to do and get to 6-3.
Okay. Well, it is almost time, in a blink of an eye, to start our afternoon session, and let's just show you the shape of day 1 here at the Crucible. 17-day affair, of course. Tick for the O'Sullivan-Pang match and the Bingham-David Gilbert session this morning. Now we turn our attention to Luca Brecel, the 9th seed, who is looking for his first ever victory here and his 6th appearance against Ricky Walden. Good to see Ricky back here again, a former semi-finalist. Neil Robertson against Wu Yiza, the 19-year-old, is the youngest man to qualify this year. And of course, Ronnie comes back against Pang to finish off their match at 7. And Ali Carter and Jack Jones, the 5th of the rookies, will be underway this evening at 7 o'clock as well. So we prepare for the arrival of Neil Robertson, the 2010 champion of the world, the most successful non-British player there's ever been. 6 Triple Crown majors to his name. Normally, at this time in the Crucible, we would be bigging this fella up as one of the absolute favourites. But he's had a very quiet season by comparison to his wonderful exploits last time when he won 4 big titles, including the Masters, and came here and made a maximum break. So perhaps the quieter season will benefit him in his quest for world title number 2.
I find it quite funny because a lot of people will go, oh well, how has he not won it the second time? It's like, hang on a minute, my dream as a kid was to just come over here and play at the Crucible. Never to win it, never to win over 20 ranking events.
Ladies and gentlemen, your champion from Australia, Neil Robertson.
It's just as hard to win the opening round here as probably what it used to be to win a quarter-final, semi-final even. Last season is almost impossible to replicate because I won 4 major competitions.
Neil Robertson, ladies and gents, your champion.
actually made more semi-finals this season than I did last season. Just last season I was ultra clinical. I put them all away. Picked up a really bad flu, over the new year, which really impacted me for, a couple of big tournaments. And I never really seemed to kind of get that kind of sharpness you need, I suppose, to have sort of like long runs in a couple of the other tournaments. I probably feel better within myself coming here than what I ever have, because I know I've done absolutely everything. Certainly no stone unturned whatsoever in the preparation, practicing multiple times a day at the club, never done that before. I've always won the tournament before the World Championships, and I know from that experience coming here, it's easy to sort of say, well, no matter what happens, I've had a great season. And it's almost a disastrous thing to have happen, because you want it to mean everything if you lose. Like, you just don't want to lose at all costs. So I come here with that kind of mindset. Well, I still have a lot of unfinished business for the season, and I can turn it into a great one if I do well here.
So, whoever thought we'd be saying he's coming in under the radar, but I guess he is, Stephen. For you, how much will this benefit him to have had a very relatively low-key time?
Well, the last 3 years, I think he's come in as favourite with the way he's been playing. And whether he's buckled under that pressure, being the favourite, is another argument. So this year, coming in with no expectation other than his own, may help him. He's an unknown quantity, but how can someone as good as Neil Robertson be, we're talking about under the radar? It's incredible.
It is amazing, isn't it? Yeah, and in fact, he's not made it to the one table set up the semi-final stages since 2014, Steve. There's much talk about the crucible conditions, cramped style. He likes to walk into his shot.
Yeah.
How inhibiting do you think that is for a player like Neil?
Well, he does. He's one of the players who really does like to stand back and really walk a long way into the shot. So, yeah, that dividing wall can sometimes inhibit you. And on the other side, where the crowd is, you haven't got much space at all. Maybe he doesn't like that. But going back to the point about the expectation and the players that we think are great, I think it's getting to the stage now, a bit like, say, the Masters golf or any big tournament. It's very hard to make a case for any one player being head and shoulders above the rest of the field. So we're now looking at the pool of players that you think possibly can win this event gets bigger and bigger every year. Gone are the days when it's just a handful, it feels. It's just who gets a run. And that form, doesn't matter what's happened the season before, it's just on the day and how the form sort of unfolds itself during the tournament.
Okay, well, it's a big day for Neil. It's a big day for his 19-year-old opponent, and that is Wu Yize. He's another of the 4 Chinese debutants. He's the youngest player here. He's won 3 matches in qualifying to get here, and he dispatched this season's shootout champion Chris Wakelin in the first round with a startling run from 4-7 down to win 10-8. He's ranked number 62 in the world, only his 2nd season on the tour. So a great day for him, and we'll see how he gets on. And we're absolutely delighted that this afternoon we will have the excellent company of 2 champions in the world, 1997 champion Ken Doherty and the 1985 champ Dennis Taylor. Good afternoon to you, fellas. Lovely to see you. Ken, 2 wins in qualifying. You were getting so close.
No, I was getting so close. I got a bit of it. I don't know what happened to me. I got a little bit too nervous, getting too excited, Hazel. It was too much for me at my age.
I won't mention the pink off the spot. 4-0 up and he missed a pink to go 5-0 up. And then it was downhill after that.
I collapsed like a cheap tent, Hazel.
Dennis, it's great to see you too. And I'm going to start with a difficult question here. We know how brilliant Neil Robertson was last season. How do you account for this rather muted form over the last 12 months from him?
It's very difficult to account for that, but I think it might work to his advantage, because he put an awful lot of practice in, so he's coming in fresh because he hasn't had such a great season, and I think he could be a very dangerous opponent here this year. But it's a fascinating match, this, Ken, coming up against a 19-year-old. This is what everybody wants to see, the young against the established player, and it'll be interesting to see if Neil has a game plan, because Neil's one of the best potters in the game, but this young player, Ken, he pots him off the lampshades, this fella.
It's a fascinating game. I know this young guy, Wu Yize, he plays at the Ding Junhui Academy, and he's done brilliant so far, but he's been a prodigy, and he's definitely one for the future. But it's great to see him here making his debut at the Crucible. He's up against one of the all-time greats, there's no doubt about that, but it'll be a great experience for him, I think.
I'm sure it will, gents. And on the day which is Almost exactly 60 years ago since a certain Dennis Taylor made his Crucible debut. It wasn't a Crucible debut, it was his World Championship debut, actually. It was in the Manchester City Hall, and you played your great mate, Cliff Thorburn. You lost 9-8, but you still love him as a great mate. I know that.
Yeah, he's coming over again to do a little bit of work for the World Snooker, and looking forward to seeing him. I've had some fantastic battles against him down the years, and he's the funniest man I've ever met. He's unbelievable.
Well, you're down to business once again in that commentary box, and gentlemen, we'll leave you to it as the players waiting backstage. We've also got Belgium's Luca Bressel. He's up against Ricky Walden today, and the Crucible crowd is waiting for all four players, and so is our MC, Mr. Rob Walker.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the opening day of our coverage of this year's Kazoo World Snooker Championship. Now, such is the global nature of our sport these days that the four players waiting backstage all represent different nationalities. Today, their paths converge for an opportunity to take a step closer to the ultimate title. And wherever they're from, they're guaranteed a great reception, as always, from this brilliant Crucible crowd. Please welcome a player back for a 9th Crucible campaign after a 10-9 thriller against Tepchire Unnu at the qualifiers. Winner of 3 ranking titles, and of course he made the semis here a decade ago. Raise the roof for Ricky Walden.
Well, it's all right. Riding around in the breeze, well, it's all right. If you live the life you please, well, it's all right. Doing the best you can, well, it's all right.
Superb walk-on tune, superb. His opponent, winner of the Championship League at the start of this season, his 3rd ranking title. Making his 6th appearance at the Crucible 11 years after his debut. Raise the roof for the Belgian bullet, Luca Bressel. And now to a player emerging for the biggest match of his life. Hopefully, he'll use the correct staircase. After a superb comeback at the qualifiers, here he is. What a moment and what a debut for China's teenage sensation, Wu Yize. And finally, to a player who has amassed 23 ranking titles since his arrival from Australia just over 2 decades ago. It's his 19th consecutive Crucible appearance. 3 times a UK champion, twice a Masters champion, and winner of the big one here in 2010. Can you hear the thunder from down under? He's Neil Robertson.
So, waiting for you if you want to jump onto the coverage of the Bressel-Walden match. It's all on the iPlayer or the BBC Sport website for you. But for now, we are off to join Ken and Dennis, where 2010 world champ Neil Robertson, as Rob was saying, begins his 19th campaign here, and Wu Yize sets out on his very first. All yours, gents.
Thank you very much, Hazel. Good afternoon, everyone. And I think we're in for a fascinating tussle here this afternoon. Wu Yize, first time at the Crucible Theatre. You find it all a little bit cramped with 2 tables here.
Thank you.
Takes
The
a bit
first
of
frame.
getting used to.
Neil Robertson to break.
It's part of the beauty of the Crucible in the early stages, Ken, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure it'll be, you know, a little bit of nervousness for the young man, but I'm sure he's going to relish it. Absolutely love this atmosphere. Tough match for him, of course, against one of the greats, Neil Robertson. Won this championship. Oh. quite some time ago, Dennis. It's been a little bit bizarre sort of season for Neil Robertson. You'd expect him to be on the winners' rostrum a few times, but has a great sort of preparation coming into this World Championship. But as they say, form is temporary and class is permanent, and he's certainly a class act. Very close there.
He was. I thought that was in, but he's left a chance for Neil Robertson. This is a thinnish snick, but I don't know if he can reach around being left-handed, but he can't hold for the black off that one, but he can get up for blue or buck colour. Yeah, he's quite a tall lad, Neil, so he was able to reach that comfortably.
Well,
that looks pretty good. Staying the correct side with the blue.
Trying to go into the pack and try and dislodge a red or two. Didn't get enough topspin on the cue ball there to bring one into play, but he might have a red into the left centre pocket, but there's no bridging over red. It's quite awkward. I'm sure he'd be quite careful, I think, in the opening exchanges here, Dennis. You know, being an experienced player at the Crucible for many, many years, he doesn't want his young opponent to settle down into this match very, very early. And
yeah, he'll have done his homework. Well, Neil, he'll know that he's up against a fantastic potter. So he may just... you don't really go in with a game plan, do you? You go in to play well, and that's it. You can't sort of say how you're going to play against an opponent. But it will be interesting to see how tight he keeps this match, because Neil's one of the best potters we've ever had in the game. But this young man, some of his matches in the qualifying rounds, Ken, was the breaks he was knocking in was incredible.
yeah. Some wonderful victories there. It's only 19 as well. I mean, he's so young. Practices up in Ding Junhui Academy, as I said. He's in there with his father every single day. He beat Alan Taylor 10-7 in his first match. Then he beat Tian Peng Fei, which was a really good win. That was 10-2, quite convincing. And in his final qualifying round, he beat Chris Wakeling, who had qualified, never lost a qualifying match to qualify for the Crucible, particularly on Judgment Day. And that was the first time. So that was a very impressive win as well.
Well, this opening frame's gone a little awkward because of the red up the other side of the blue there. He's got to cover that. The green will be the covering ball for that, and it looks to be played to perfection, or maybe he can get past the green. I think he can get past, but if he takes the pot on, the white's running up into the pink and reds here. But he does love to go for his shots. He could take it up into the corner, which would be a more difficult pot, but let's see how he plays this. Into the corner with a little bit of safety in mind. This wasn't easy. And it's gone a little awkward with the black tied up now.
I think there are quite a few players this year, Dennis, who come to the World Championship with not any real recent form, and definitely Neil Robertson is in that category. But it's one of these tournaments, of course, over the best of 19, you know, first round, best of 25. It's a tournament that you can find form in, isn't it, because of the longevity of the matches.
Yes, the first round is the potential stumbling block for the top seeds. Once they get through the first round and you're into 3 sessions, best of 25, then you can relax a little bit more. And look at that, the pink's out of the game now as well, but a very good length with a safety shot here. Look at that, glued to the cushion. And as you can see, no path down the right side of the table for the safety shot. And he can't get to the reds, the left side of the table. So he's going to have to think a little bit about this. The old dreaded double kiss has left an opportunity here for Neil, but with the pink and black tied up, it's not a good chance. The reds are nicely placed.
Yeah, not a bad little kiss on the blue. The fact that the yellow is off its spot, it can come down the left-hand side of the table, over the yellow spot. Trying to get on that red, just above the pink spot.
6.
He's just having a look to see the pathway of the red. Can he avoid the reds and play this off 2 cushions? Yeah, that was the pathway, but looks a little bit short with the cue ball once more.
Yeah, that was a poor shot from Neil there. He's left himself a very awkward positional shot now. Just about okay, but he's still got to pull a good pot out here, and he's got to get back round onto the blue. So it's not going to be straightforward. It's a pretty good effort, but once again, similar to the previous shot where he was the other side of the blue, so he's having to work very hard for these.
He's quite a tall guy, Neil Robertson, well over 6 foot. He just needs a little bit on the cue because the red that's just left of the black is slightly hampering. And it's just got to be careful. Waistcoat doesn't touch that red on the top cushion. It's pretty close to it.
Oh, it looks touching from that picture, but the referee's got a keen eye on it. It's a little bit deceiving, that shot, yeah.
80.
He's got an angle on this red now. I wonder Can he play for the pink into the left centre pocket? He's got to be pretty precise with his cue ball here. No.
90.
Once again. Short of the blue. Thought he might have been able to stun over to the right hand side cushion there and get on the pink into the left middle. That would have certainly helped things for him. So that's 4 reds, 4 blues. As you said, Dennis, he's working very, very hard for this break. He's such a wonderful putter. He's got a Rolls Royce cue action. He's keeping the break going. Nice little kiss on that red, just a hold for the red into the left corner. Surely he's going to get top side of the blue this time.
31.
And he may still just stay on the blue and try and pick off these 2 loose reds just above the black spot.
$36. $37.
It's going to get a little bit more difficult now. It's just got one easy red that's to the left of the black spot to get on. Then, well, the 2 the right side of the table there, just between the pink and black, they're not too bad. You can get in behind those and leave them on for corner or middle pocket. But after this next red that's near the black spot, it'll become much more difficult. Well, he's decided. Oh, the red's in, is it? Is the red in? Well, that is so unlucky. He knew he was running out of options there and decided to play the cannon, which would have given him the frame quite comfortably. But I mean, how unlucky is this?
Yeah. Oh, very unlucky. I mean, he played the right shot. He played the more aggressive shot. Trying to bring those reds in to play on the black indeed. And a nice little starter for User. But he has pretty much the same problem. He's got a nice angle on the blue here. Could run into the pink and red. Maybe bring both of them into play. Well, that's what he tried, but it could have been a little bit kinder to him.
Oh, this is an awkward little cutback here. If he's going to just drop it in, he can get on the black here. And he's played it nicely, but once again he's faced with a tricky black, cutting it back into the pocket. These are far from easy.
Very missable. These are shot. Sometimes you're watching where the cue ball's going, but you've got to concentrate on the pot. Oh, nice shot. Well played. And now a wonderful chance. Just those couple of shots, bringing that red that was close to the pink and not black has given himself a wonderful chance here for a counter attack.
15.
No, the other one went in because of the pace. That one had a little bit more pace on it, and it wasn't right in the heart of the pocket, and he got found out there. But a wonderful chance has just gone.
Well.
And Neil Robertson be quite relieved, Ken, because when he had that bit of bad luck when he knocked the red in, he was fearing the worst.
Yeah, it was just the way he played the black. If he had maybe just dropped it in almost dead weight, it may have dropped again, but the fact that he was digging into the cue ball, trying to hold the cue ball for the red, that's what made him miss it. So black to go 37 ahead, just 35 remaining.
He'll want to make sure of this red, because Wu will come back to the table if he doesn't pot this. It's only one snooker that's needed. And safely in the pocket, and that is the end of the opening frame here. I think Will Hughes is looking at the score.
On the first one.
Signal to the referee, he's had enough. So Neil almost got into a bit of trouble when he knocked the red in when potting the blue, but he's safely over the line in this opening frame. 1-0 to the Australian.
Neil Robertson off and running with a break of 37 there. And I guess, guys, it's difficult to assess his form, because when you look back at it, he's not actually been past the last 16 in anything since New Year. Just been such a quiet back end of the season for him.
Yeah, he's not played a lot of snooker. There's tournaments he hasn't even entered, as is what he's been doing actually the last few seasons. But he's always, as he said in an interview, managed to win something.
Yeah.
Coming to the Crucible with some sort of form. I mean, he's got nothing. So it's going to be really interesting to see how he plays. I think he's prepared as well as he could do. And, you know, he's fresh. But you'd like to have some sort of indication, I think, of how well you're playing.
I guess the only thing, Stephen, would be that the fact he's made 45 centuries, I think it is, to this point in the season. I think Sean's made 46, 47, something like that. So he's still able to score, despite the fact that he's not getting to the latter stages of these events.
Yeah, I mean, winning form these days is pretty elusive. I do think, you know, it's tougher to find it here than it is at other events, but it does happen. But it helps if your opponents help you to get into some type of form. As we saw from the match this morning, watching the pattern of that, Ronnie O'Sullivan stole the first frame from his opponent, and that set sort of the pattern for the rest of that session, and Ronnie ended up 6-3 in front. Neil Robertson looked like he could have lost that first frame. Now he's off to a flyer, so to speak, on the scoreboard.
OK, well, Wu Yize, debutant, as we say. He was the Rookie of the Year on the tour last year. He got to the quarterfinals of the European Masters and started to turn heads there, but this is a huge day for this young 19-year-old.
Yeah, massive day for him. And it'll be interesting to see how he reacts to that miss black and an opportunity missed in that last frame. It'll take him a little while to settle down. He really wants to get a frame on the board very, very early.
Well,
good opening. Very typical Neil Robertson pot. And look at that position he shot. That's what he's so good at. Not only the pot, but look at the position. Perfect on the blue. Looks like the red just below the pink is potable into this bottom right corner pocket.
6.
And that will certainly release the pink. Wanted a slide angle on it, but I could play on the black here.
Just thinking the same thing, Ken. If he played on the black and got on it in such a way, he could just nudge the red away and free the two reds that's near the black. it's an option. That's what he's looking at now, because it showed you he was almost straight on this red, so there's no problem getting through onto the black. So let's see what he decides on. No, has he got the angle?
7.
He can still nudge that red away, probably just a little further than he intended, but this clears the black spot area.
He's played that lovely. Cleared the black, as you said, Dennis. But just judge that little cannon into the 6 reds for the red into this right corner pocket. That was a lovely little shot.
15.
Most likely play on the red, just to the left of the black. Played on it well.
22.
Will he look to try and get an angle on the black maybe, so he can go into the pack and still hold for red into the left corner? That's what he's looking at.
$23.
Well, that's worked out a treat.
30.
Red into the right centre. He's got this red into the bottom right corner pocket.
$31. $38. $39.
He's going around picking off these reds nicely. There's a couple of reds he could play on. Red into the right centre. You see a beautiful camera view on the back of the theatre.
44.
That was interesting what Hazel was saying about Neil Robertson making 45 centuries this season, even though he's had a poor season, but he is a wonderful break builder. And probably, well, the first player to make a century of centuries in a season, Ken. That was some achievement.
And that was here, I think. I think it was on this very table against Judd Trump. But yeah, he's
45.
Phenomenal scorer, you know. One of the best that the game has ever seen. And it all came from that long red. And the break off from his opponent just left one red out. Knocked it in. And the user can only sit and watch. Not ideal on the blue. So may have to play a little cannon into maybe the reds or even the pink.
Yeah, he's a little bit concerned if the cannon goes wrong, he could run out of position.
Yeah.
But he played it perfectly. That's the chance now to make it 2-0. That was the key shot, that little cannon working as he intended.
$51.
see a little stat, 24 seconds average shot time. Well, I think it's just gone down now to 23. But that's when I think Neil Robertson is playing his best. Just something over around the 20-second mark. A few times a few years ago where he started looking at a lot of shots, and sometimes his shot time was up in the late 20s, and I don't think that was good for him. I think he's more fluent, he's playing better. He's around just above the 20 mark. That red obviously pots into the right centre pocket. 65 ahead, so this red and another colour will be enough, but once that frame is in the bag, he'll be concentrating on trying to make a century and clear all these balls. Laying down a marker here to his opponent.
I don't think he's on anything.
73.
He would have wanted to have finished this frame off because his opponent's going to come back to the table. Although it's 2 snookers required, but he'd have to swerve this round the pink if he's going to take the pot on. And that's exactly what he's doing. Trying to bend it. Look where he's hitting the cue ball, right on the edge. Just to turn it over, and he played it very well.
74.
Yeah, you couldn't get a better angle than that. Beautiful shot. And this is the red he was trying to get on. This one here, I'm sure, into the left centre. Now, can he, when potting this, just brush into the 2 reds and open them into potable position? Just a little brush off them. There you see it.
81.
Played it perfectly.
$87.
Well, he'll definitely get the century before he worries about that red on the left-hand side of the table, close to the left cushion. Such a good break this, isn't it, Dennis?
He's looked immaculate all the way through. Never looked like running into trouble.
96.
So his first century in this year's Kazoo World Championship. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, fantastic. Incredible century. I'd like to keep going. Possible 138.
104.
That's his 894th career century. Quite incredible.
$111. $113. Thanks. 160. $120. $125.
So this will be an early marker for the players. Possible 138 from the Australian. Great start to the match.
Absolutely fantastic from Neil
On the
Robertson.
second frame. Neil Robertson.
138. And he leads by 2 frames to 0.
Yeah, what a wonderful career Neil Robertson's had. And to think, Ken, that his first year he dropped off the tour and had to get playing his way back onto it again.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's a very famous story. Came all the way from Melbourne, Australia, just 500 pounds in his pocket. Got on the tour, fell off, got back on, and well, hasn't looked back since. Wonderful career. It's an interesting one though, Dennis, since he won the
Thank
World
you.
Championship back in 2010.
Neil Robertson to Brown.
And all those years since then, he's only been to one semi-final. I'm sure he'd like to put that right this year.
It's a tough game, this snooker. He's a very attacking player. Is he having a go here? He certainly is. Is he going to get a bit of good fortune? No. He deserved better. That was a cracking opening pot. Not a favourable run of the balls there. But at least it's a confidence booster, Ken, that one.
Yeah, nice when they go in. As you said, he is aggressive. He'll go for his shots. There'll be no holding back.
Green ball, thank you.
I'll be going for this though. I'll be trying to get that cue ball onto the ball cushion. But yeah, good pot for him. And like,
He's a 1.
as you said, make him feel a little bit better. He'll be disappointed with that chance that he had in the first frame and that missed black off the spot. As I said, he's like to get a frame on the board very early.
Much too thin. This is going to leave a chance into the right corner here. He's left Neil in amongst them here. He's obviously feeling it out there. I know the crucible nows don't come in so much these days because these players are playing so much snooker throughout the season, but still coming to the crucible for the first time. It's a big ordeal, Ken.
It is, yeah. There's so many different things about playing at this wonderful theatre than other tournaments.
Well,
The fact that it's, you know, the people are so close to you around the table, your opponent sitting next to you in the chair, and of course the magnitude of the tournament itself. And that's why it's almost imperative when he settles down early.
8.
That one would have unnerved him, that miss.
No. 16. 17.
Quick look into the pack. He could play in a loose red, but he's going into them. Oh, well. Play it with a lot of bottom on the cue ball. He's been lucky. He's on this red into the right centre. But it's not a great angle to try and get back on the black here.
$25.
Looks as if there's only 2 more reds available. He's coming around to have a look, but the one at
32.
Back of the pack and to the right might possibly be available into the left corner. At the moment it won't go, but when he removes this red it will, but I'm not sure if that's an option.
33.
If not, he might decide to go into the reds here. He's got a good angle. A bit of top spin left hand side, and you can see the way he's applying it there. And that's okay. Another frame winning chance now.
False.
The fact that that cannon has worked out nicely for him.
Yeah, beautiful shot there. Now you see his putt success up to 99%.
40.
And this is exactly the start Neil Robertson would have wanted.
$46. $47.
No need to play any
50.
cannons, they're all clearing each other. The reds that are behind the pink. Just checking to see if the pink spot's available. I mean, he can play on the black without any problem at all, but he's worked it all out in his head.
53.
So obviously the pink's the better ball for ideal position. Rob Spencer, referee, just checking there to see if the pink will spot, and there's not enough room. And the highest available, well, only spot available
59.
is the green.
$60.
You wouldn't put it past him making another century here, Ken.
No. He looks in pretty good form. I mean, his cue ball has been excellent. He's got the pace of the table.
65.
This red would be enough. But as I said, he'll want to go on and
66.
make another century from here.
just that red that's near the right side cushion. Being a left-hander, it's going to be a little awkward for him.
74. $81. 82.
He's going to have to play for the blue this time.
89.
That last red, the key ball as to whether he makes another century.
90.
I think he's played for the pink, but he's come up a little bit short. Another sort of 12 inches up the table with the cue ball, and he could have potted the pink and probably tried to move the red. As I say, if you're a right-hander, you could drop in behind it.
Well, he's just going to drop the pink in and leave the red from distance, so this will be some shot to keep the break going.
$96.
Well, no century break, but just the one chance needed. And Neil Robertson, with that magnificent break of 96, extends his lead. It's now 3-0 to the Australian.
Well, we may not have seen a lot from him over the last couple of months, but it's certainly in the locker, isn't it? It's a beautiful break building, I should say.
Yes. Steve made a point on the match this morning, Ronnie O'Sullivan. The first frame can dictate a lot. Wu Yuza had a chance, missed a black off a spot, you know, as I always say, unforgivable. And from then on, if you let the top players, top seeds get comfortable out there, that's what they do. They're just going to score, score, score. So the first frame has turned out, again, like this morning, to be very, very important.
Yeah, and of course he's capitalised 138 and 96. He's motoring out there. We were actually just musing together about your respective debuts. Stephen Hughes was against Willie Thorne,
yeah.
the late great. And for you, Steve, it was...
Well, it was an embarrassing moment.
So long ago it must have been. Was it 1963?
It was definitely in black and white. It was in black and white. And I brought the game into disrepute in my first match at the Crucible.
Come on.
By eating a ham sandwich during the match against Dennis Taylor. The promoter at the time came down the stairs and said, this match is going on a bit, and do you want anything? I went, yeah, I'll have a ham sandwich. I'm getting a bit hungry. Newspaper, bringing the game into disrepute.
Oh, my word.
Me.
Wow, goodness. And it was all downhill from there, really, wasn't it? Yeah, he never did anything at the Crucible. But it's a big day for this young man, isn't it, Wu Yuza? And I'm sure you can sympathise at this stage in a match, having gone through some pretty difficult times on your debut.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously a super talented player, but when you get to this stage, when you just want a frame, the game just becomes, you just don't recognise the table, anything. Everything seems fraught with danger, or everything's got problems. So similar to Pang Jun-soo, needs to get a frame on the board quickly to settle down.
OK, back we go.
A ham sandwich, Dennis. I bet he didn't share it either, did he?
Have a look at that. I mean, he deserves a bit of good fortune, but what a pot. But have a look at this. Very, very fortunate, but that's usually what happens in this game. When you're playing well, you get the run of the ball like that. I mean, that was an incredible bit of good fortune to finish on the black like this, and he's straight in amongst them again.
Yeah. It's even tougher for his opponent sitting in that chair. Hasn't done anything wrong. He's got a nice angle. He's got on the red. And the way he's playing, wow. What can you do? He's just got to sit there and wait and be patient and hopefully get a chance. At the moment, though, it's all Neil Robertson. I know it's early days, Dennis, but I tell you what, the position of the Reds here.
No.
Could have another very big special break. I wonder how long he will stay on the black here. That's okay. He's got a red into the left corner. Perfect.
16.
There you see it. Neil Robertson made the 12th maximum break at the Crucible during last year's championship.
17.
This will be 3 reds, 3 blacks. Now we've gone a little bit early, Dennis, but I tell you what, you know, the way he's playing and the position of the
24.
Reds particularly, it's pretty ominous.
25.
Surely not on the opening day of the World Championship here in Sheffield. But they're sitting nicely, as you said, Ken.
$32.
Well, this might tell a little story. I mean, he could play up for blue, but I don't think he will. I think he's definitely going to stay on the black for as long as possible.
$33.
There's a few loose reds that you could play on here. Yeah, may come off. Bounce the cue ball off the left-hand side cushion. He'll have a choice of 2 reds into this same pocket. Oh, that wiggled in. Well, he's okay. 5 reds, 5 blacks.
40.
Because it didn't go in the centre of the pocket, the whites come up just a little bit short, but he should be okay here. Yep, he can get on the black again, no problem.
That's it.
£40,000 for a maximum break this year. And of course, 15,000 for the highest break. And if you make a maximum, take a bit of beating, someone could equal it.
Yeah, he would have liked better angle on this black, so he may have to just force it off the cushion. Try and get over to the right-hand side. It looks pretty good if it slows up. Oh, yeah. Could have done, but just
48.
slowing up a fraction, being a bit straighter on this red. Definitely missable, particularly for a left-hander. Although he's tall enough, he can reach it. Well played.
49.
Oh, needs a bounce. Needs a bounce. A little bit surprised he played off 2 cushions there. He could have just played off 1 cushion there. So once again, he's going to need another good pot here and position.
No, he hadn't quite gotten the correct angle to get out onto the red, so the possible maximum break has disappeared, and he's just 49 points in front. He was just a little bit straight on the black. It's usually the case. He hasn't left an easy starter. This will be some pot. He can get on the black if he can put this in the middle pocket. But he's got to watch the other middle pocket for the cue ball. No. Decided not to take the pot on there. I mean, it was online for the middle pocket. I was surprised Kenny didn't have a go with the black over the corner.
Yeah, and he didn't look at the reds either. What's he looking at? Is there a possible plant? Does that red? I don't think so. It looks a very, very good cue ball. Have a look at this for a shot. Pretty good, but he has left a possible red here. And cue ball coming back down towards that black and the ball cushion. Needs to get one of these. Yeah, it's pretty good. Very, very good indeed. And it's going to hold. He's on the black, he's on the green, he's even on the brown. I wonder. Excellent pot. Wouldn't be a bad idea getting the black back on its spot here, Dennis. What do you think?
Definitely the shot to play. It looks a little thin snick, but it should be pretty comfortable really. And the white's automatically coming up towards the reds. He's bound to be in ideal position. And just give the black a little bit of care and attention here. So he had a big margin of error to drop the cue ball there and leave himself a choice of 4 or 5 reds, and he's played it very well indeed. Now this is a bit of a chance. We're going to the mid-session interval. This would be a big boost for Wu Yiza.
No.
Could have played that a little bit better. He's okay. He's slightly hampered, but you can get back down for the black here.
15.
As the boys in the studio were saying it, you know, needs a frame early just to settle, and this is a wonderful chance. Have to sit in that chair and just to admire his opponent over the last couple of frames. When your chance comes, you've got to be ready for it. There's chances like these that will really be a good boost for him.
23.
If he could steal it.
It's a big test of his temperament here. He
29.
looks pretty cool, calm and collected around the table.
$30.
So far, so good. Just that red that's the left side of the table is not ideally placed.
$35.
It'd be interesting to see, does he play for a nice angle on the pink to get in behind that red, the difficult red? Now, has he got the angle? I think he has. Might be a good opportunity just to nestle on the left-hand side cushion behind this red and hopefully have the red into the right centre pocket. All about the pace here. That was it. Could have been a bit better.
42.
Yeah, just another ball up the table and he would have been perfect on this. This is a tricky little cutback. Well played. Very good. One more good positional shot here. He's got them where he wants them. Yeah, very nicely played.
48. $49.
Now, one good positional shot. Get nicely on that yellow. He's got the perfect angle and he's played it. The pace is good. Excellent. He's playing this left-handed. That tells a little story. Maybe he's not feeling any nerves.
57.
He made it look easy, screwing it back there, you know, swapping hands. A lot of players doing that these days.
60.
But this will send him to the mid-session interval feeling much better.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, it's so commendable, this break so far. Just 2 more balls needed. This has been a
64.
A real test for him, but he's come through it. He'll pot the blue. He won't have to do much work with the cue ball. It's a natural angle back down for the pink, but he just needs the blue. Well played.
59.
Fantastic break, this. Shown great spirit and temperament. What a way to get your first frame on the board at the World
75.
Championships. Particularly as he's been sat out for the last couple of frames.
Excellent. On the frame.
Excellent break from Wu Yize. Gets his first frame on the board, but it's the Australian, Neil Robertson, who goes into the mid-session interval, leading 3 frames to 1.
Well, basically a frame of 2 halves there. Great excitement about the first half of it. And Stephen, when the reds and blacks started to fall, you were saying, just calm down, everybody. Of course, Neil is one of, 8 men to make a maximum. You've made 3 at the Crucible. Always an exciting prospect when it's on.
It did. The first long red, obviously, then the cannon was a bit lucky to land perfect on the black. But just the way he was playing, you thought something special could happen. But great reply from Wu Yize after that. I like it. I've not seen him play. I like his style. He's got a bit of flair about him. I think Pang Junsu is a little bit more methodical with his cue action, not so natural. But this player looks very natural, and you know, I like the way he strikes the cue ball.
Yeah, what were your impressions of him, Steve?
Yeah, well, when you come to the Crucible as a rookie, it's very easy to fold, and in some ways, it seems like that's part of the storyline of a player's progress through through their career, that they have to have these moments where they totally fold. But when you come to the Crucible, you need to sort of believe that you can win your match, not just believe in your confidence, even if you played well in the qualifiers. And so when all of a sudden your opponent is just bashing you up, you can lose that belief. So you need to get this first frame on the ball to start to say, actually, I can play the game, I'm here to fight. So he's now done that job. Now we'll see what occurs for the rest of this session.
Yeah.
Now, this morning, Panji was like, 6-3 behind. That's sort of losing touch a little bit with the opponent. 5-4 behind, it's another story.
Yeah, but the way he's done it, of course, asking to have to come back and actually clear up that frame. And the way he's done it is surely going to give him a lot of confidence going into the second part of the set.
It sends a message to your opponent. The way he took that clearance was as if, OK, no problem, I'm just going to clear up, you give me the chance. There was no hesitancy about it at all.
OK, well, there is a nugget I was telling you about. This fella won the World Under-21 Championship when he was 14. So he's kind of way ahead of schedule, isn't he? He's only 19 now, so look out for him. We'll be back to that very shortly. But from a 19-year-old, we're going to the other side of the curtain in the Crucible Theatre to see the progress of Luca Brissell, who you may remember was the youngest player ever to appear at the Crucible at age 17, and he nicked Stephen Hendry's record. I think it was Stephen by about 3 months, something like that. But since then, the now 28-year-old Belgian bullet has appeared 5 times in all, but as yet, no wins, no match wins. He's come a cropper and a couple of real bruisers, as you can see there as well. Most notably, Mako Fu, 2017. He led 7-2 in the race to 10 and was overturned. Ouch. So is it going to be 6-time lucky for him today? He's going to first have to beat 40-year-old Ricky Walden, whose golden chance at the Crucible came exactly a decade ago. Terrific run to the semis there. Ran out of puff against a charging Barry Hawkins. Chronic back problems thereafter saw the 3-time world ranking winner question his future in the game. But happily, his form's come roaring back over the last 2 seasons. And Walden returns today.
Ricky, fair to say it's been quite a frustrating season for you so far, but plenty of positives over recent weeks. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree with that. To be honest, it's been a tough season. Not really played too well all season, to be honest. But yeah, getting through in the Worlds is a big deal, and hopefully I can bring some form into this one.
Yeah, and of course we have seen you win ranking titles previously. Your last one in 2014. Would you say that it's perhaps confidence that's becoming a bigger and bigger issue for you?
Yeah, that's always been that case for me, to be honest. Yeah, I sort of ride the waves of confidence when I'm good, and obviously when I'm feeling not too good, it hits me quite hard as well, you know. So yeah, I've always been that kind of player, and hopefully I can have a good week.
And of course, 10 years since you made the semi-finals here at the Crucible, which is quite hard to believe actually when you think back to that. But what aspects of your game do you feel need to improve in order to go on a run similar this time around?
Yeah, I think bits of everything, to be honest. You know, you've got to score well, obviously, and yeah, your all-round game needs to be good, and you need to put a lot of long balls as well. You know, the standards that high for everyone. So yeah, you need to have a good all-round game. But I think for these few weeks, your temperament needs to be bang on as well.
Yeah, and Luca Brissell at first for you. We know how high a ceiling he has, but perhaps consistency a bit of an issue for him as well. But what aspect of his game impressed you the most?
Yeah, I think just the fact he plays with so much freedom, you know, that's such a hard thing to do. When the pressure comes on, everyone wants to play safe and stuff, and he always seems to play with that kind of freedom and scores pretty dynamic as well. So yeah, it's going to be a tough game for me, and I'm going to need to play well.
Great to see you back here in Sheffield. Best of luck.
Thanks very much.
And Ricky talking to our Abigail Davis, who's back on the team again. Absolutely delighted to have her with us once again here in Sheffield. So, Walden against Brissell, and we're going to join this in frame one. It's Walden to play, no score yet. And we've got 2 major champions in the box for this one. Former UK champ John Virgo, alongside 2005 world champ Shaun Murphy.
Well, he swerved it too much, and catching that red near the left middle, full in the face. Gives the first decent potting chance to Luca. And nicely in the centre of the pocket, nice and solid, and control the cue ball well. No, an opportunity in potting this. Just cannon the red just above it and leave yourself on the black for the opposite corner. Well, he decided against that. Wouldn't have been my choice, to be honest with you, but blue, I suppose you're a bit unfortunate the blue won't go to the left middle, but I'd like an opportunity to play for the black, get the black on its spot. He's got the pink, second choice.
$13. $14.
Well, what a mistake that was, to leave the cue ball behind that red now. This black's missable. Straight in the heart of the pocket. Good signs early from Luca Brissell this afternoon.
No spot available for the black, so he went as close as he can in a direct line with the top cushion, as close to its own spot as it can go, not touching
21.
the pink. So basically that tells us that the black is going to be available.
27. 28.
There you see our database of information at the bottom of your screens there. Luca Brissell yet to win a match here at the Crucible, which is a bit of an amazing stat. Feels like he's been around forever. He's still a very young man, of course. I think I'm right in saying that he still is the youngest player to ever play here. Amazing that he's yet to get through the last 32 stage of the World Championship. Maybe this will be his year.
He's misjudged that, but if this red just below and to the right of the pink passes the black,
39.
it's not all bad. Maybe it doesn't, but maybe there's another red to the left middle. Yeah, another 40. Good clean pot. Just the start you'd be looking for.
$46. 47.
Average shot time during this break of just 17 seconds. He's really getting on with things, and what a start this is. Been a bit lucky with a couple of shots, has to be said, but great start this to the match. So nice if you can just get out there and play like you're playing in your practice room. It's so hard to do. It's so easy to say, but this is a cracking start to the match for Luca Brissell.
55.
This pink, and depending on the colour he takes off the next red, determines whether he needs just a red and a colour, or you'll need two reds. So
61.
red and a colour. This pink would put
62.
68 points ahead with just 67 remaining. The perfect start. It'll be made better with a ton.
68. 69. 76.
Yeah, he's cued really well here. I mean, that shot there, for example, he got through the ball beautifully and run around off two cushions.
77.
Just seems to be waltzing round the table, stop, bang a ball in and carry on.
Yeah, it's the secret, isn't it, to playing well, particularly here. And, you know, it's always the argument for the player coming into this tournament to, you know, do you prepare for this tournament differently? It is just so different to all the others. Even the other two events in the Triple Crown Series, this one stands alone, and Luca's just got on with it.
84.
Going to need a couple more good shots here to get the century, though. Not easy to get close to the next red from the pink. The best he could do.
$90.
Just overcut it. Just the start he'd be looking for. And the Belgian bullet leads 1-0.
Solid start for Brissell, eh? And they share the next two frames, Luca making a 78 in the next, and Ricky an opening 51 in frame 3. So the 9th seed Brissell 2-1 up as we pick them up again in frame 4. And it's the Englishman Walden to play now.
$46.
You can reel off frame-winning break after frame-winning break as good as anybody.
Yeah, it's a very natural player is Ricky. And he just scrapes over the line in the last frame. Spawned a couple of good chances. And you sort of worried that if he'd have lost that frame, he could have been in the doldrums.
52.
But if you can win this frame now at one visit, and a good break it's been so far, then as
53.
Sean said, you'll go to the interval feeling an awful lot better, and you have to say full of confidence. Just shows you how one frame that could have gone either way, he'd have been really disappointed if he'd have lost the last frame, but he managed to scrape over the line. And just a few pots now from levelling the match going into the interval. Such a psychological game, the snooker, isn't it? Between the ears, you know, you
60.
grab hold of every little positive you can. And this will be a positive for Ricky.
61.
Well, as I said earlier on, I saw Ricky in the practice room this morning, and he was giving an interview to our reporter, Abigail Davis, and he was saying that confidence is his thing, you know, at the moment. That's what he sort of rides, the wave of confidence, or if he's feeling a bit low,
68.
he finds it hard to get out of that. And of course, we're all the same, and you can just spark off anything.
69.
It looks like that, winning that third frame, is just giving him that boost. He doesn't want the interval now. He'd love to stay out there.
No heroics there because he knew that black was frame ball. 76 points to lead.
76.
Just 67 remaining. And if he pots this, no way back to the table for Luca Brissell. So having lost
77.
the first two frames, Ricky Walden will be well pleased with what he's produced, particularly in this frame.
'83.
Yeah, good little break building shot that. He wanted to play the other red, but
84.
He wants to use that red that's closest to the cue ball next. And when he pots it, he'll move the red nearest the middle pocket. Clever little shot. You see, he left the angle on this red now. He can pump it in, cushion first, and knock the red nearest the middle pocket into
90.
open play. Possible 1-4-1 here.
91.
We're going to need something special for the century here, JB.
97.
These reds are very missable.
Yeah, it just seemed like a little heavier contact than he expected on the pinks. But if he pots the red, he should be on pink or black. He's potted the red. Well, he's on the black.
98.
Literally.
Pink ball. Ricky Walden, 98
Well, it
on the
wasn't to
frame.
be, but that fabulous break of 98 together with the third frame gets Ricky Walden level at the interval. It's 2 frames apiece.
It is indeed all square, and if you want to continue watching that, don't forget that it's available on the BBC iPlayer and on the BBC Sport website. In fact, any time that we're not on BBC One or BBC Two, the whole championship, every single ball is live and available to you on any of these platforms. And we also throw in the red button occasionally as well, so you will not miss a thing. But we're going back live here on BBC One now for the second part of this opening session between the Australian legend and a Chinese rookie. So 3-1 to Robertson as he comes back into the Crucible Theatre. 4 more frames to play this afternoon against this young man making his debut, Wu Yize, 19-year-old. And we've got Sean and John all ready to pick up the commentary once again. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Hazel. I'll try and do an impersonation of John or Sean. Big reception for both players as they come back into the arena. And be interesting to see if that last frame at the end.
Thank you, the 5th frame.
Player 1 will
Thank
settle
you.
him down.
Neil Robertson to break.
Spectators getting a little excited, that's okay, as long as they're quiet on the shot.
Quiet as you can, please.
Of course, the other table's still on their interval, so you're going to get lots of noise. That's the nature of the Crucible Theatre when you've got the 2 tables. Look how close the crowd are. Oh, that was a risky one he took on there. He was always going to leave a pot on for Neil. But he is an attacking player. He'll go for all sorts. But White tucked up on the cushion. I think he might have been better looking for a safety there.
One.
A delicate little cannon needed here. Just a gentle one. And it'll be a good opportunity here. Can't afford to leave this player in amongst the balls with the form that he's produced so far here this afternoon. He's just a bit concerned if he does play the cannon. I don't know if he can avoid it because there's 2 loose reds there. He could avoid the cannon. Just means that it's left him a slightly more difficult pot. I thought he would have just brushed off
8.
The 2 reds there at the back of the pack. I thought he'd have just cannoned the left one. But he didn't want to risk it.
He just had an anxious look, didn't he, at the red, but he's just about on it.
9.
Yeah, good shot. Now, he may play on the red directly above the black. He doesn't have to go into the pack of reds here. He can play it off 2 cushions. And if he overhits it, he'll still have the red over the middle. Now, just avoid the pack, 2 cushions. He's overhit it. But he always has the red over that left centre pocket.
$50. Please. Yeah.
Rob Spencer just having a look to see where, I mean, this could be a tricky re-spot here. He's going to have to mark the red, move it out of the way, try and get the pink. Very delicate, this. Need a steady finger. That was very, very awkward to respot that. I think he deserves a little round of applause when he finishes this.
Yeah. Better wait until he finishes, though. His finger could slip. Look at that.
I remember once in pot black, Sidney Lee, who was the referee all those years ago, he dropped the pink into the middle of the reds with the glove, and the reds went all over the place, and he just pulled them all back together with his hand and said, 7, and carried on.
Tell you what, he's done a good job here, isn't he, Rob Spencer? Well done, getting the pink in there.
There we go. Deserves that.
$22. $29.
That was a nice pace of the cue ball there. Now, what's he looking at? Well, he's wondering when he pots this red, just a little glance off the red, just above it. For the cue ball to go through the gap and still be on the black. There's the pot, there's the little brush, but he hasn't played it well. Could have played that with a bit more pace. He caught the red too full. I just wanted a little brush off it.
Well, if he takes this on, this will be some shot, bridging over the red. Oh, he's overcut that. That was so difficult.
Neil Robertson, 30.
Yeah, you'd probably knock that type of shot in maybe 3 times out of 10. And this is awkward as well for Wu Yiza, this. Because he's got to get a little bit of action onto it if he took that one into the middle pocket, so it's not worth the risk. This is the correct shot here.
Count himself very lucky, Neil Robertson, after missing that black, that he didn't leave something a little bit easier for his opponent. Is he on this red? Just past the black. To this corner pocket. Certainly pots. Oh, wonderful shot. Use the black as made the pocket a little bit bigger, the black being close proximity. Just a little nick off the black. Normally, you'd expect Neil Robertson to take this brown on, but maybe just showing his opponent a little bit of respect and using his experience here. But I tell you, he hasn't played that well. Probably should have taken the brown on.
Smiles all around. I'm wondering if that just drifted slightly. The tables are checked after most sessions. They always go out, check how level it is, but that one seemed to drift a little bit. Let's see. if he can make it difficult for Neil, as we show you that fabulous pot there. Is he going to take the brown on? As I say, Neil refused it, but this fella attacks everything.
Louise at 1.
Well, he missed it, but I like the way he took it on. He was confident enough to take it on. He saw his opponent refuse it, and he thought, well, I'm not going to refuse it. There's a chance. If it goes in, I could win the frame. But, of course, the flip side is, if he misses it, he could now lose the frame. Oh.
What?
Wow. He's not going to lose the frame. Let's end the break.
It's amazing that. I know he was using the rest, but you could play that shot 10 times and not screw the white into that position. Amazing. It just landed on the blue and finished in no man's land.
Blue ball. Neil Robertson.
I'll tell you what, Wu has been on that baulk cushion quite a few times. Neil has found it absolutely to perfection. Oh, the white's close, the white's close.
Foul. Neil Robertson 4.
Well, it's costing him 4 points, but what it does leave is a difficult pot for Neil. He's only 35 points in front. This will be an interesting choice of shot coming up. You can put that white anywhere in the D area. But wherever he places it, it's going to be a difficult pot. So he might refuse it. That's sort of given a little indication that he may take the red that's next to the tip on and get on the black. And he's just looking to see what he would leave if he got a good cue ball. But, well, he's one of the best potters we've ever seen in the game. And, well, here we go. Dead straight. You've got to push that cue through in a straight line. Wonderful, wonderful.
No, that's a brilliant shot. As you said, you've got to stay so still on the shot as well. Perfect on the black. And that's what he does, isn't he, Dennis? As you said, he's one of the best long putters in the game. You got to play to your strengths.
8.
That's why I was so surprised to see him refuse the brown into the right centre a few shots ago.
This match will be played to a conclusion tomorrow afternoon, and Neil Robertson will be
60.
hoping to take a healthy lead into tomorrow.
17.
couple more pots away from making it 4-1 here. Didn't quite get enough reverse side on that. He can still pot this, but he wanted to be straighter on it.
24.
This is frame ball.
$25. $30. $30. $37. $38. $44. $45.
Yeah, this is a great response after the mid-session interval, especially with he was on his way to a
52.
maximum break and finished up losing the frame. Brilliant 82 break from his opponent.
54.
But this is where he started the match. He's cueing beautifully at the moment.
57. $61. $66. $72.
That's another frame-winning break from Neil Robertson, and he extends his lead. It's now 4-1.
Thank you, Ken and Dennis. Earth to Hazel there. What goes? I'm thinking about the fact that Neil Robertson is coming back to form clearly. He's playing his way into this championship, obviously early days, but having had such a sort of elongated period where he's not been at the sharp end, in your experience, what is it in your technique that tends to desert you when you come in not fresh?
I don't think technique's in question because he'll have done hours and hours practice solo, but possibly you lose it. Maybe things like pinching frames from 50, 60 behind when you're match sharp, you do that automatically. Maybe if you've not been playing a lot of matches, things like that. Scars from being punished for mistakes. If you're playing on your own, obviously no one's punishing you for your mistakes, so you get to get used to that again. But in terms of technique, and I think he's such an experienced player, I think he just falls into it comfortably.
Yeah, okay. For you, Steve, what makes you think twice after a period where you've not been really battling for the titles?
Well, I think what can go is your strength of confidence in your game, and you start to try and overanalyze what's going wrong, where maybe nothing much is other than some opponents are beating you when sometimes they were failing against you, and you could then beat yourself up more than you need to, instead of just saying, well, this is the swings and roundabouts of competition. You know, sometimes I'm going to win, sometimes the other guy is going to clear up and beat me. And if you can remain very confident in that department, you can weather those storms. But it's very difficult to remain confident because it is a game where you're judged purely on playing another player. Maybe in the golfing world, you get a different thing. You know, not making the cut, but you don't win every golf tournament, but you still can say, I'm a successful golfer. And you don't question yourself as much during a season as perhaps the snooker players do.
Absolutely. Kent Dennis, he looks calm, looks confident so far, doesn't he?
Yes, Hazel, he certainly does. He's in his stride. It's a bit unusual why we haven't seen so much of him over the course of the last few months, particularly at the business end of tournaments. Maybe just it was a confidence thing. Nothing certainly about his technique. It looks as smooth and as good as ever. He's had a litany of big breaks already early in this match. So, and that particular last shot, Dennis, I mean, that's what Neil Robertson's all about. We put the ball in hand, took the long straight red on, knocked it in, and then went on to win the frame from that position.
Yeah, this was the long red that he knocked in. He could place it anywhere in the day, and he'd worked out he could take that on, and he put the white perfect on the black, but he wasn't leaving anything, only the red he took on. It was playing the percentages there, Ken.
Yeah. Well, how well he cued it. Now he's having a look at a plant here. It's two reds just to the right of the pink. Look pretty much in line to this bottom right corner pocket. There you see it. Shouldn't be a problem, this.
Whoa.
And, well, he shouldn't have been left that. Okay, we'll use it. Took the red on into the left centre, but he may not have taken the red on if he knew he was going to leave the plant. So a bit of a mistake there from Williams. And a chance. He could have played it a little bit better. He's a little bit lower on the pink than he would have liked, Neil Robertson. But he does have that red up in the bulk area to try and play on.
Neil Robertson
wasn't on that pink. Is a little bit low on it. Didn't expect him to miss it.
Yep. I think he took his eye off the pot. He was more concerned about the cue ball. Now, is this too thin a cut? Because I'm just looking at it. If he was to cut this in, every chance he could finish on the black, you know. It's a thin snake, but the white will come twice across the table, should avoid hitting the blue. And if he takes the cut on, he could finish nicely on the black. He's had second thoughts, though. And now he's looking at the safety side of the game.
Just wondering, is he on this red? Well, he certainly is. He's got enough of the red to take this red on. And he can certainly come around the back of the black, but can he avoid the reds? Well, he's refusing it. The only problem about playing into those reds there, there's always a possibility that the red could pop itself over left or right corner pocket, and that's exactly what's happened. He can get on the black here, take this red on into this bottom right corner, and play it off two cushions, or he could just hold the cue ball off one cushion. Bit of a tester, this. Yeah, a bit of a tester. Now, what's he left?
I think he's left quite a few, especially if the red next to the black goes. Although it may be quite tight that maybe it doesn't pot. So if it doesn't, there's no easy starter. He can cut the one in that's next to the pink. Yeah, that's his choice. So you'd think he'd finish on one of the bulk colours here.
Whoa.
So one good positional shot, and he's right in amongst them again. Look at the reds, they're perfectly placed. The blacks in the open, the pinks in the open. Great chance. Well, that's a shocker from Neil there. He'd got quite a margin for error, and look where he's put the cue ball. He just got into it too much. He's left himself a tricky cut into the middle pocket if he is going to take it on. Had another look at the angle there, but this is not straightforward. No, overcut it. But that, the yellows covered it, so it was a bit of a calculated risk he took there, but he knew he could always possibly cover it. And if the red goes in, he was on the yellow for the middle.
Yeah, this is a tough one, this, because he really needs to get that cue ball over to the right-hand side of the table in balk, so he doesn't leave that red near the right centre pocket. Can't do that, though. There's no path. Is he taking this long red on? Well, this is risky. Oh, what a shot. Needs a bit of luck. Deserves a bit of luck. Is he on the pink? No. Oh, what a tremendous pot.
You won't see a better one than that. And he's a bit unlucky with that kiss that he got there. And this is an equally difficult yellow he's faced with. Oh, well done. Yeah, every credit. Showing great temperament and composure. Those last two shots. And he's got, well, not a bad opportunity now. Can he capitalize on it?
Well, he deserves to. I think after those two pots, he can play our pink, play on pink or black here. He's gone down for the black. Needs a bounce. Yeah, pretty good. Well, that opening pot of the red, you won't see many better today than that.
11. $12.
Yeah, I wonder. playing a little cannon on one of these reds to hold the cue ball. Doesn't have to, of course. A couple of choices. He's played for the loose one. He's okay.
90.
Can he reach that though? Maybe just about, quite a stretch, but hadn't much
20.
to do with it. Shows the confidence of this young player playing for the red along the cushion. He could
27.
easily have played out to the open reds.
28.
Safely in. Excellent.
He could play a little cannon into that red, and that would open one of the reds into the left corner, but also he'd be on the red into the right corner. Yeah, nicely played. Just a delicate little shot.
35.
Yeah, if he could play this red into the left corner, just hold for the pink. He could play it off the cushion if he wanted. Could play a little cannon on the red as well, but I think off the cushion and back for the pink should be okay.
36.
That's gone wrong.
Yeah, the previous shot, the white just finished in an awkward position. He was on a choice of 3 reds, and every one of them were just that little bit awkward with regards to getting a good positional shot. I'm not sure if he can take the green and get enough screw on this to not cannon the red that's to the right of it to get back up. But they're all sort of covering each other somewhat into the left corner pocket. Well, a little bit the same the other side of the table, so it's not straightforward this. This is a key shot coming up here. Yeah, he's plenty of screw he can get on it here. Couldn't avoid the cannon on the red, but that'll do. That'll do nicely. The angle on the green, there was no way he could avoid that cannon.
Thank you. 42. $44.
This way he's got to be careful. He wants to screw the cue ball back just about 3 or 4 inches. It's very easy to underscrew or even overscrew this and not beyond this red into the right corner pocket. So it's not straightforward, this.
Yeah, taking his time quite rightly so to make sure he gets this next shot absolutely spot on. 40 points in the lead. Oh, this is just about okay. He can just cue past The black
50.
almost went very awkward for him there. I love that shot there. You're right down the player's cue.
Yeah, and he cued it lovely, didn't he? Nice shot into the middle pocket. Back in prime position now. And for all of the barrage of breaks that he's faced this afternoon from his opponent, he's battling in there and he's
59.
Sticking with him.
Yeah, we tend to forget he's only 19 years of age. First time at the Crucible. Giving a very good account of himself here, Ken.
He's looked calm, hasn't he?
65.
I mean, okay, he's made a few mistakes, but by and large, he's, I mean, the opening
66.
red in this break and then the yellow to follow. Fantastic. The innocence of youth, Dennis.
72. $73.
So Wu Yize is over the line in this sixth frame and only 2 frames
75.
between them now. We're going to have to leave it here on BBC One. But we're diving over to BBC Two for the remainder of our afternoon. So please do follow us over there. In just under a minute, we'll be back with you and we'll catch you on the other side. See you then.